What's up guys, and today we're going to be looking at my complete Sega 32X collection. Here we go.
Sega Genesis 32.
Welcome to the next level.
The Sega 32X was released late 1994, early 1995, and it was sold for $150. And it was used to basically expand the lifespan of the Sega Genesis, just like the Sega CD did. As you can see, it is pretty ugly, and it looks like a giant mushroom that just sits on top of the Sega Genesis. But the good thing is you can put regular Genesis games in there, as well as your 32X games, so you never really need to take it out as soon as you put it in there. The 32X has two 32-bit processors in it, but no real games looked excellent compared to regular Genesis games. Some of them do stand out. Virtua Fighter looks okay, I guess, with the polygons, and Virtua Racing looks pretty good. But other than that, no real games stand out in terms of graphics. The 32X came out in 1995, and the Sega Saturn was right around the corner, so a lot of people didn't want to spend their money on a system that wasn't going to be as good as the Sega Saturn. So it didn't sell very well at all. As you can see, mine has a price tag of clearance, $29.99. A total of 31 cartridge-based games and 5 Sega CD 32X games were released for the system, with a total of 36 games. And the Sega CD 32X games are basically, you have to use the Sega CD and the 32X both to run the games. So yes, you do have to have all adapters plugged up and all the systems plugged in. So it's going to take you a couple extension cords and, you know, plugins to actually get this thing running if you want to play Sega CD 32X games, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because you don't even put anything in the 32X to get it to work with the CD games. So I'm not sure if it runs off of some of the processors or what, but it's kind of a hassle, and the games are those typical Sega CD FMV games. Now let's go to the games. We have WWF Raw for the 32X. Fun wrestling game. Sega Sports featuring World Series Baseball featuring Deon Sanders. A lot of people say this is the second rarest 32X game to find in the North American library. I'd have to disagree. I'd say it's probably the third hardest game, but expect to spend some money on that one. Knuckles Chaotix, one of the standout titles for the 32X. It's a very fun Sonic type game in which you're playing with two people that are connected by like a rubber band. It's kind of weird sounding, but it's pretty fun. Star Wars Arcade, very common 32X game. You can find it for like $5. Pretty fun. Space Harrier, just like classic Space Harrier. It's a great game. Shadow Squadron, kind of like a first-person cockpit flight simulator kind of game. RBI Baseball, sports game. Primal Rage, fighting game. You may have seen this on the Angry Video Game Nerd. Pitfall, I'd say this might be the fourth hardest 32X game to find, and you know, I couldn't even find it on eBay for the longest time, but it's, you know, Pitfall. NFL Quarterback Club, one of the few clamshell Sega 32X games. It's football. NBA Jam, great game. You know, just classic NBA Jam. This is a championship edition, or I'm sorry, Tournament Edition, still sealed. Mortal Kombat 2. Enough said. Zaxxon's Mother Base 2000. I never played this one. It looks pretty interesting, actually. WrestleMania, the arcade game. If you've ever played the arcade game, you know, the game is awesome. It's so arcadey and crazy and over the top. You kick Yokozuna and like turkeys fly out of him. Awesome game. T-Mech. This is another expensive game. Probably the 4th or 5th rarest 32X game to find. Tempo. This is a very trippy platformer for the 32X. And there's lots of colors and crazy stuff. Still sealed. Star Trek. Starship Bridge Simulator. Never played it, didn't look interesting. Virtual Racing. Very common game you can find for like $5, and it shows off the, you know, the capabilities of the 32X. Virtua Fighter. Back then, this was very, you know, revolutionary. I think it's one of the first 3D fighting games, and I think it still holds up. Not graphically wise, but gameplay, it's pretty fun. Tough Man Contest. Never played it, still sealed. Looks kind of like Punch-Out. Metalhead, another cheap one you can find for like $5. Kind of a mech kind of a game. Motocross, another cheap one, $5. Not very good. Calibri. This is one of the first 32X games that I found at a thrift store for $1. And this is kind of the reason that I wanted to collect all the games for the 32X. Because I found this, Motocross, and Metalhead for $1. So I was like, you know, I did some research and I was like, there's like 36 games here, so I thought, you know, I want to get a complete system of every game released for this system. And I did it, and it wasn't too hard. If you do want to collect, I recommend buying a lot of games for like under $50 with the system, because it can be done. That's how I did it. And you know, you'll start off, you know, a good ways ahead of, you know, just buying games one by one. And it's definitely, you know, realistic. It's not that hard to do, and it won't cost you too much money. Just the, you know, the more rare games will cost a little bit of money, but it's definitely possible to get all the games. So Calibri is like a weird shoot 'em up with a hummingbird, so it's pretty fun actually. It's one of the standout games for the 32X. Cosmic Carnage. This is a fighting game. BC Racers is like a caveman, kind of a kart racing kind of a game. Brutal Above the Claw. This is a fighting game. Brutal, I think, like was some weird cartoon or something, toy figure in the early 90s. Can't quite remember. Doom, you know what Doom is, but this is, graphics are okay. It's just kind of a, there's a border around the game when you play, and it kind of distracts from the game. Golf Magazine presents 36 Great Holes starring Fred Couples. Still sealed for obvious reasons. And the last cartridge game is The Amazing Spider-Man Web of Fire. This is the most rarest North American game. Expect to pay anywhere from $150 to $250. I got a good deal on mine. I didn't pay, you know, $250 or plus or anything like that. The game is basically like a beat 'em up, kind of a side-scrolling game. Not too great, but it was the last one released and the most rarest to find. I heard somewhere there's maybe 2,500 or less. I could be wrong on that. That's what I heard, 2,500 of these games. But this is by far the rarest and the most expensive 32X game you're going to expect to buy in North America. Next we have the 32X CD games. Corpse Killer, probably the most easiest you can find. These are all complete. They came in cardboard cases, you know, with manuals and multiple discs. And sometimes it came with little tattoos too. Supreme Warrior. I never play these games because I don't have a working Sega CD, but I kind of expect they're just, you know, like regular Sega CD games, the FMV, kind of horrible games. Slam City with Scottie Pippen. Yeah. Fahrenheit. This is the only jewel-cased Sega CD 32X game. And finally, Night Trap, the classic cult game. And just a bonus that I actually found. There's not a whole lot of information on this, but I found it and I decided to buy it. It is the Sega 32X Virtua Fighter Special Training Pack. And it comes with coupons, which don't work anymore, to get $20 off of a Virtua Fighter or $40 off at any 32X soft hardware. So you can actually get $40 off of the actual 32X system. Also comes with a Virtua Fighter t-shirt and a Virtua Fighter tape. If you haven't seen my video, I actually did a video on the tape and it's on my channel. I'll put a link somewhere. And it's basically a really cheesy 90s movie, which is only like 20-30 minutes long, and it shows you how to do some of the special moves for Virtua Fighter. Really cheesy. And that's what this is, basically, just a special training pack. I'm not sure how rare these are. I've only seen these pop up a couple times on eBay, so I don't know how rare they are. I only paid like $15 for it, so it's a nice extra to have, you know, for the 32X, which I don't think have a lot of extras anyway. So that is my 32X complete North American collection. I've only seen a couple on YouTube so far, and I just want to go extensively through the games, and hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you guys want to get into collecting for 32X and you need some advice or help or whatever, just ask me and I will give you some. And thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, Come Back Kid out.